Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic. Thank you for the concern some of you have had over my cough and my throat. The weird thing is, I don't think that until today I've actually had anything that could count as an illness. I've just had the odd cough. And I'm worried now that I am actually starting to come down with something. So we will see how that goes. Maybe this isn't a great theory. Maybe just talking my way through a video will actually help it. Anyway, we will soldier on through the next few days as we have done before when my throat has gone bad. I think it was about 15 months ago I had 3 colds one after another. But today I'm looking forward to giving a try to pause the video Congrats by Apio. Those of you who know Simon's style and interests will be aware that he's a keen follower of Agadmator, who makes chess videos and often pauses the video or encourages you to pause the video and work out how the next bit of chess develops. And Simon does the same occasionally, and this constructor, I will come back to that in a moment, is suggesting that this might be a theme for this video. Well, I'm really looking forward to giving it a try. Now, I say this constructor, again, I think Simon knows how to pronounce this name, and I don't. I'm going to say Apio, and apologies if that's completely wrong. But we've featured Apio on the channel a number of times, and they're really good. So I'm looking forward to giving this a go. We will do that in a moment. First of all, don't forget that there is still time to enter the competition on Patreon, which is about negative constraints. It's a puzzle pack of 7 puzzles called Evening Attractions, and we're very pleased with it. It's not easy. Be warned, it isn't easy. There are some tough puzzles there, not all of them, but some of them. And the negative constraints often matter quite a lot. So we'll do that in a moment. Sorry, we won't do that in a moment. We recommend you do that in a moment. We also on Patreon, there's Simon's solve of the incredible Emery Kalotoglu puzzle involving all of numbered rooms, skyscrapers, and something else. There's a lot in it, and it takes Simon a long time, perfectly justifiably, to solve it. And that's on Patreon too. So then there's all our apps, which feature line Sudoku and thermo Sudoku, like this puzzle. And then, of course, there's Sven's Sudoku pad, which is marvellous, and our merchandise. You can find links to all of these under the video, the first of which is to this puzzle. So, as I say, it's called Pause the Video Congrats by Apio. I'm going to do the rules now. Normal Sudoku rules apply. We'll be putting 1 to 9 in every row, every column, and every 3 by 3 box. Now, as it's a chess puzzle, digits separated by a chess knight's move, which is a move like that or like that, must be different. I've got my little knight man ready to remind me when I forget that that's an important rule. Digits on a grey thermometer increase from the circle end. Now, that means that digit is smaller than that. The only 3 thermometers in this puzzle are 2 cells long, so they're not going to be a lot of use, and I wonder if Apio is daring me to pencil mark them from the outset. I'm probably not going to do that. Pause the video if you're not sure. Digits along a purple Renban line must be a set of consecutive digits in any order. Now, the sum of the digits in 2 orange circles, we'll be calling this colour orange, although it looks quite red to me, is equal to the sum of the digits along the line joining them. So those 2 add up to those 4. And now, yes, the letters in the grid, of course. The word Agadmator appears along the diagonal of the grid. Well, it does if you start there and carry on down and then pick it up again at the beginning. So it does. Each instance of a given letter represents the same digit, and no 2 different letters represent the same digit. The M positioned on the corner is the difference between row 6, column 6 and row 7, column 7. So the difference between these 2 cells is M. Interesting. Okay, well, give it a try, as I say. I'm going to restart my clock. I have no idea how hard this is. Let's get cracking. I don't know where we get cracking on this. So I will give my throat some liquid. There's not a lot to go on. Not those thermos. Okay, it's got to be, I think, not the letters. They're not very helpful yet. Oh, I've had a thought about the letters. I'll come back to that in a moment. I really don't think these orange lines are doing anything until we get some idea of what's on them. I mean, the trouble with this puzzle is almost everything is not a lot of use until you get something started. So that's not really helpful for a break-in. I was assuming that these slightly longer Ren bands might be helpful. I've only just realized these short Ren bands, they could have been done by a white dot. And these tiny thermos could have been done by a greater than sign. I mean, I kind of like the integrity of the puzzle, but there are options in how you present differences in Sudoku. Okay, so it's got to be this little man getting involved straight away. The knight's move. You don't need to pause the video to see if you can do my next step, because I haven't got a next step, and I will be taking some time about it, I imagine. Right, the only thing I thought of about the letters was there are 3 A's. So let's colour those a colour and see if we can limit them in the grid using the knight's move. Ah, yes, okay. I was trying to compare that one and that one, looking in boxes 2 and 4. That's not as useful as comparing this one and looking in boxes 6 and 8, because this sees all of those cells, including by knight's move, so they can't be green. This one sees all of those, and the overlap is those cells, so actually that is the only cell that can be green. Then green's on one of those 2, and I don't know which one yet. But in this box, I'm assuming the same sort of thing applies. I think none of those cells can be green without breaking the rules, so that is... No, I don't need to white flash it. That is definitely the one. And then one of these 2 is where green goes in row 7. Oh, and one of these 2 in row 6, and that is symmetric with column 6 as well. So we've got a little X-wing 2x2 of green A, whatever it is, up here, and another one down here. But I don't see... Ah, okay. Now, what you have noticed, and I hadn't paused the video, and see what is important about these green markings. And I will tell you now what I think might be important, and that is that none of them are on the purple lines. Now that's interesting, because if you imagine the sequence of possible Sudoku digits from 1 to 9, A is kind of at one end or another. It's not 4, 5, or 6. I'm going to tell you that now. See if you can work out why. And the answer, I think, is because there has to be some overlap now between... Well, there already had to be some overlap between these purple lines, because the digit 5 had to appear on them both. Any sequence of 5 Sudoku digits has the number 5 in it. And there may be more overlap than that between these lines, and that might be helpful in solving the puzzle. Now, the fact that A can't appear on any of these lines, imagine that string of Sudoku digits I was mentioning. In fact, I will just aide memoire it in the top row, just so we're seeing what I am. Now, these 2 purple lines are selected from one group of 5 and another group of 5. But they can overlap, and they must overlap. However, they don't include A in them, because A doesn't appear anywhere on these lines. Actually, we could have seen that from the start, because by knight's move, A sees all of those places. I hadn't realised that. I do now. Ah, okay, here's something interesting, and it involves those tiny thermos that I probably derided as valueless at the start. Yes, I think this works. One of these two cells is A. We know that there are two A's in this 2 by 2. So, and we knew that because one was in the column 6 and one was in column 7. But that also means one is in row 1 and one is in row 2. Now the one in row 1 is on this thermo. And the one in row 9, the A in row 9 is on that thermo. I thought this was going to be helpful, but I'm not sure if it is now. I'd like to rule A out of that cell. Have I missed a knight's move? Anyway, sorry. I'm not even telling you what I'm thinking. If I could rule A into both of those cells, I would know that A couldn't be an extreme digit. Well, 1 or a 9 is what I mean by an extreme digit. Because 9s can never appear on thermotips and 1s can never appear on thermobulbs. Sorry, I'm just trying to work out what this does mean. I'm not really getting this at all. But I do think I'm on the right track, weirdly. Now, how much overlap can there be between these? Well, there are 6 digits on those 2 Ren bands in box 5. So there have to be 6 different digits involved. And that means there is not complete overlap. There are other ways to see that these can't each have the same set of 5 digits. And that was how I knew that 4, 5, and 6 are not A, because once there is a 6-digit string involved in these, at least, then that does involve 4, 5, and 6 on the purples, and A can't be on the purples. I'm feeling very not with it today. I'm sorry. I can't see quite how we make... Oh, hang on. Right. Maybe this line matters now. If A was low, was 1, 2, or 3... what happens on this line? You see, that's interesting. This digit could be 3. Just. If that was a 9, then this could be 1, 2, 4, 5. However, I don't think this digit can be 1 or 2, because that digit would have to appear again on any sum you could possibly make. You could only get up to 10 or 11 using this cell by adding the 2 circles. 10 or 11 both require a 1 and a 2 on this line. So this digit cannot be 1 or 2. So if A was low, it would have to be 3. Remember, A can't be 4, 5, or 6. That can't force that to be 1 or 2. So that can't be 1, 2, or 3. Now, I don't know that that means it's not green, because A could be high. In fact, I think A almost certainly is high, but I don't know how high. Oh, I'm so daft. Look. Green is the bulb of a thermo already here, and the tip of a thermo here. Oh, well, that means already we know that A is not 1 or 9. Okay, well, that's good. Now, I'm still struggling with the idea that A could be 3 and could be there. and that would be 9, and this would be a 1, 2, 4, 5 set, and this would be 6, 7, 8. Now, I'd love it for this to break down. Now, hang on. If A was 3, these purples would have to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And that won't work, because then 1 and 2 are going to have to sit in those cells, and 3 would be below 1 or 2 on the thermo. Wow. So now I have proved that A is high. And that took a lot of doing. We're 10 minutes in. And that's it. Virtually the only deduction I've got. A can't be 3, because 1 and 2 in this box would end up there. These would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, including that being a full set of those. So A is not 3. Therefore, this A has to appear in one of those cells, and this has to be 1 or 2 if A is low in any way. And that breaks on this line. So A is high. It's not 4, 5, or 6. We've proved that. It can't be 9 because of these two thermos. A is 7 or 8. And now it's got freedom to appear up here, annoyingly, I think. I don't know whether it's on the bulb or not, but I do know that this digit is, well, 7, 8, or 9. It's either A, or A is there and this is higher. Now, is that telling me anything else that I need to know? Yes, it's telling me that these purples are from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, possibly 7. Now, do I know how many overlaps there are? The trouble is I don't. There's either 1 or 2 overlaps between those digits. I kind of feel almost back to square one. But these digits have to be from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 9 is definitely in one of these two cells. 8 is in one of these 3. That can't be on the purple lines either. Now that's weird. I'm moving from colours to numbers and not really enjoying the process. Okay, if 9 is in this cell, right, 9 is in one of those two cells. Let's not do that with colour. 9 is in one of those two cells. If it's in this cell, it can't be in those cells by Sudoku and Knight's move. It can't be on the purple lines because we now know 9 is not on the purple lines, which are selected from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 9 can't be in a thermobulb. So if 9 was in that cell, it would also be there. I am going to flash that sort of as a possibility. Now, if 9 was in this bulb, what's going to happen down here is very similar. Then 9 can't be in those cells, or those two, and it's clearly not in that cell. So if 9 was here instead, the other shade of blue, then 9 would be here. And I'm wondering, is there a reason I can now say that one of those is true? Yes, there is, actually. Well, if this is true, and 9 is dark blue, 9's in those two positions, the 9 in column 4 then is in one of those two. Whereas if this is true, and 9 is there, the 9 in column 6 is in one of those two. So we're always going to end up with 9 in one of these two cells within these boxes, which feels relatively powerful. But I don't quite know which one. Now, what about 8, which also can't be on these lines? So 8 can never be in any of these cells. I don't know. I mean, I wanted to at least say it can't. No, 8 can't go on the line, on the red line, on the orange line with 9. That may not be that interesting. Mind you, if 8 was here, it would have to be in one of those two cells. Oh. 8 on the line would make that 9. 8 and the circle would make that 9. 8 here. I don't quite know what this means, but I feel that it means something. Sorry, that is a classic cracking the cryptic thing to say, but I hope you're sort of following along with me, because it's getting very interesting. It's just not getting resolved yet, and that's because I'm not smart enough. But I am going to keep thinking about this because it's absolutely weird and fascinating. Come on, there's either a 9 there or there. Maybe I should also ask, what if green A was 7? Then this would be an 8-9 pair. Would you have the same, yeah, if green was 7, you'd have the sort of same problems with 8. 8 there would force 8 into that cell. This is if green was 7. 8 there would not necessarily force 8 into that cell, because maybe 8 could be there. If green was 7, maybe there's something very obvious about why there can't be a why there can't be only a single overlap. That's more likely. Do I need to think about that a bit harder? If there was only a single overlap, this would be a full set of the digits. Let's say these were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In fact, that is the specific overlap I want to eliminate if possible. If these were a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because those are the only numbers appearing on these two purple Ren bands, then 7, 8, and 9 are this group of cells. Now that doesn't of itself mean green is a 7, I don't think. But you have to now squeeze a 9 into either those cells or those cells. Oh, there's not just something saying 9 can't be here, is there? And maybe the interesting circumstance is if green is 8, which makes this one a 9. Oh, that is interesting from a point of view I hadn't considered yet, I think. Or if I had, I'd forgotten it. If green is 8, this light blue is a 9, and that's a 9. Then the bulb can't be 8, because that couldn't be 9 anymore, because of that being 9. So that bulb couldn't be, so if green is 8, these two ends are no more than 7 and 6, and we've put 9 on the line, and the whole line cannot work, because those two would have to add up to 4 or less. Oh, that's very obvious suddenly. Sorry. If you've worked that out and been waiting for me to catch up, I'm sorry. But it does prove that green cannot be 8, because light blue would be 9, that would be 9. You couldn't put 8 in either of the circles, because green would be 8. And it couldn't be there, and you couldn't make up this line. It couldn't work. So green is not 8. So green is 7. We've got a digit in the grid after less than 20 minutes. Come on, little night man, celebrate with me. Okay. So now this has got to have implications. Yes, the instant implication is these are made up from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I am literally going to pencil mark the heck out of them now. This pair of cells is now 8 and 9. We might still have problems here. let me think about this. If that was 9, the only way that can be 9 at all, and I hadn't thought of this at all, but I'm doing it now, finally, is for these two to be 7 and 8, and the others on the line to be 1, 2, 3. And that doesn't work, because if that's 9 and these are 7 and 8, what are you going to put here? There is no possibility. So I should have worked out ages ago that can never be... I don't know, actually, maybe I needed to do the stuff with 7 and 8 to get there. Anyway, no, I didn't. That can't be 9. That is 9. By Knight's move, that is 8. That's 9. By Knight's move, that is 9. And we can get rid of those bits of colour because they were all speculative. And now we've got more digits in the grid. This 8 can't appear there by Sudoku, so it's either here or here. Now, if it was here, we'd be putting 8 there and 9 here. And I was going to work out something about the line. The important thing about that is it doesn't include a cell for green, which is impossible because green has to be one of those two and green is now 7. So we cannot put 8 here. We have to put 8 here. And that is quite limiting on the line, which can now add up to a maximum of 14. So these circles have to add up to a... Sorry, the line adds up to a minimum of 14. The circles add up to a minimum of 14, not using an 8. They must surely have a 9 in now. Yeah, they must. 7 and 6 is only 13. They have a 9 in the circles. 9 is O. We've got a second digit. This has become a 7 just by Sudoku now. And that is green. Hurrah. And that is therefore a 7 by Sudoku. That doesn't resolve this pair, I don't think. Never mind about that. This line, now this digit is now 5 or 6, I reckon, because we need to get to a total of at least 14 in the circles. Now that 5 or 6 is forming a sextuple there and making that 8. This line, although shorter and having been less interesting so far, is getting quite interesting. So the minimum those 3 digits add up to is 12. So these two add up to a minimum of 12. Imagine if they didn't have an 8 on, they would have to be 6 and 5 at a maximum. So that can't work. So they need an 8, and 8 has to go there, and that is a T. Now the minimum of 12 mandates that this is 4, 5, or 6. This, I don't know, that is another one from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're doing okay on 7s, 8s, and 9s, and maybe it's time to do a bit of Sudoku thinking. Yes, look at this box. They can't be 8 by ordinary Sudoku. By Knight's move, those two can't be 8. So 8's in one of those cells. Now it's on this Renban. It's not there by Knight's move. It's there, and it's got to be with a 9 on that little Renban. And 9, come on, 9. 9 can't be in those cells or that one. 9's in one of those two. 9 can't be in those cells or that one. Ooh, 9's definitely on one of these Renbans in this box because of these 2 9s we've placed. So whichever 9 by Knight's move can't be there. So 9's in one of those cells. But it's got to be with 8 on the Renban, and those can't be 8. So 8 is in one of those 2 cells. It's a bit strange, I don't know which one. 9 is in one of those 2, and I still don't know which one. 9 is now in one of those 2, and they both see that cell, so that is not a 9. I'm using the Knight's move there to explain why they both see that cell. Oops, that's meant to be a 9. There we go. I have a feeling I should be able to work those out, but we'll get there. Oh, that's a 9 by Sudoku now, and that sorts them out. 9 and 8 there. Brilliant. This puzzle is a very, very clever puzzle. Sorry, I'm trying to get rid of the pencil marks. There we go. Okay, 8 there. We might be able to finish off 8. Not quite. 8's in one of those 2. And one of those 2, but those 2 positions, it's exactly analogous with the position over there. They both see that, so that's not 8. This one is. that's going to sort out the greens as well. You don't need to pause the video to work out why, because the greens are 7s. They now go here. Let's get rid of all the green colouring in the grid, I think, now, because it's done its job and we've finished off the greens. There we go. Excellent. Now, have we got 9, 8, 7 done in every box in this puzzle? We actually have. Okay, so what comes next? We've identified some of the digits, of course, A, T, and O. Only A is a repeated digit in the name Agadmator, which is a bit sad for us, but probably quite helpful for APIO. Now, come on, this is resolved already. Oh, 7 is on a Renban, so that's a 6 with it, because it can't be 8. That 6 sees both of those cells. That's not very exciting. What about this then? This could still be 12, 13, or 14. These are selected from 1, 2, 3, 4 to achieve that. And up here, 8 either goes with 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 4. So 1 and 2 must be used there. Is that useful? There's not a night smooth thing. I mean, they all of those positions see that, but that's, I don't see what that's doing. These Renbans sort of were helpful in passing, but they really don't unwind for me anyway, at all. Now, this is a group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't see what I do with that. These 4 digits, that one can't be in any of those cells, so it's in one of those 2 and one of those 3, and the same sort of pattern applies everywhere there. That's not actually, doesn't seem very helpful to me at the moment. Oh, maybe I can use the fact that these aren't repeats. Those 3 have to be different digits. Is that? It doesn't feel very helpful. And this M feels the least helpful of all. Although it's now maximized, actually, M. It's not very helpfully maximized because it's maximized at 5, and frankly, it couldn't have been anything other than that when we placed all the 9s, 8s, and 7s. So Yabu sucks to M. Right, what am I meant to do now, guys? Again, no need to pause the video because I will be pausing along with you while I try and figure out something next to do. I'm literally quite pleased with how far we've got. Bother. 6 in this box is in one of those 2 cells by sudoku since it's not there. So that is a 6. These definitely add up to 5. There's a virtual V there. And these 2 digits go here, again with a virtual 5. I'm literally going to do something in the pen tool to keep myself reminded of that. I would love to put a V between them, but that's not available to me. So I will put an X between them and make it orange to try and remember that these pairs are 5 pairs. So these digits include the number 5 and a pair that adds to 5. And that 6 can't be anywhere here, so it's one of those 3. Oh, it also can't be here. Now, do I know whether it's a repeater on these lines? I don't think I do. I don't think this has taught me one way or the other, because that can be 6, and quite likely is. Yeah, I don't know. I keep doing a bit of circular reasoning about whether it can be a repeater, and I'm not really seeing a way through that, so we'll forget that idea. 6 can't be there by Knight's move. No, that's not interesting. I thought it would be, but it's not. 6 in those positions means 6 can't be there. Right, I was going to think about these 2 cells, which include the other one from 5 and 6. And the other one from 3 and 4 that isn't used on this line. And those in turn mean that this line can neither be 6-5 nor 4-3. But could it be 5-4? If it was, this would be a 3-6 pair. That would be a 5. And these would add up to the wrong total. That's quite cunning. These would be 1, 2, 4. So if this was a 5-4 pair, the 3-6 pair would put 1, 2, 4 on this line, making the line contents add to 15, but the circles add to 14 by being 9, 5. So this can't be 6, 5, 5, 4, or 4, 3 now. So it must have a 2 on it. That's a bizarre deduction. That can't be a 2, this can't be a 3, because these two add up to 5. I don't know if that's going to help. It probably isn't, but it's an intriguing bit of Sudoku. That can't be a 2, because they see it, including by knight's move. 9, 8, 7 now. If that was from 1, 2, 3, these other digits would have to be 4, 5, and 6. I don't see how to use that. That can't be 1 or 2 because it's seen by all those positions. Oh, 6 can't be there. So 6 is in one of those two cells. That doesn't do anything anywhere else, does it? I don't think so. It means it can't be there, but I think we actually had it restricted to those 3 before. Maybe I literally have to work on the 2 possibilities here. So if this goes 1, 2, 3, and that's a 5, this is a 6-4 pair. Then this pair includes that 5 from the circle and either 3 or 1. That doesn't seem too bad. Now, if that's 1, 2, 4, this is a 6. This is a 3, 5 pair, and this is a 6, 4 pair. And that doesn't seem to get any job done either. Oh, goodness. What's next? I mean, this is absolutely fascinating, but it's not revealing what's happening. Oh, this is so blatantly obvious. I'm so sorry. 5 has to be on this line. I mean, that's one of the truths about 5-cell Renbans, so that can't be 5. These lines must include 2, 3, 4, 5, so that's 1 or 6, and it can't be 6. Oh, you muppet. Right, no 1 there, no 6 there. Pencil marking them was good, but it made me forget about their inherent properties. Now, this does become a 1, 2, 4 set. That's a 3, 5 pair. That's a 2, 1 pair. It was all a bit easier. Yeah, if you made a comment explaining this business of these lines and what had to be on them to me, don't retract it because I don't deserve it. 1, 2, 9, 8, 7. These are from 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a 6, 4 pair. 6, 4, 7, 9, 8. Okay, come on. This has got to have done more, much more than I'm realizing. We know that the 4 repeat digits are 2, 3, 4, 5. So those don't have a 1 on. And this one is not a 6. These are a 2, 3, 4, 5 set because they are repeated in the digits that have to be on these lines. Okay, what else do we know? Therefore, 1 is in one of these 3 cells. That's not interesting. 1's in one of those 3. That's not a 1, and that's not a 1 since we placed this 1. That's a pair that adds up to 5, so that's not a 4. In fact, this pair is a pair that does add up to 5. Could I rule 1 out of there? It would be quite helpful if I could. Now, how about the letters in the grid? Are they doing anything? Not really yet, I don't think. That 1, 2, 4 set all sees this cell. That's not very helpful. 9, R7C6, 17689. These are from 23456. 69187. These are from 2345. There's a lot of that around the puzzle. That can't be a 4 in this column. I mean, are we going to have to do some creepy Knights move thing? Like 4 is now... It's not necessarily one of those, can it? Because it can be there as well. I don't know. 6... Again, maybe I should go back to these lines, which were much more helpful than I was allowing them to be, and think about these digits that do repeat on the lines for definite. Yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting. Therefore, one of those is a 2. They all see that cell, so that's not a 2. That's quite interesting, but a bit weird. If that was a 2, there'd be a 2 there, a 2 in one of those, a 2 in one of those. I don't see what that does. Oh, there's a 6 in one of those, so I know that's a 4. That would be the sort of helpful thing to notice, wouldn't it? Now, does that 4 do anything, or even this 6, which now can't be there or there? 6 in row 4 has to be in one of those positions. There's nothing they all see. So that 4 was interesting, but didn't actually get me anything else, you beastly 4. Well, one of those is a 4. They all see that cell, so that's not a 4. Slightly interesting. One of these two is a 6 for definite in this column. What's that doing? Literally nothing. Well, maybe I'm being unfair again on 6s. So again, 6 is in one of those 3 cells in box 6. And where is it here? It's in one of those 4 in box 4. It doesn't quite do anything. Maybe I need to focus on this V pair that's repeated over here. Or the letters, why aren't they doing more for me? This one is not 9, 8, 7 or 4. R is 1, 2, 3, 5 or 6. That's just totally uninteresting at the moment still. I feel if the letters come into this, it's much later. I mean, there could be a long time later to actually have to consider, sadly, because I don't think I'm getting very close to a finish here. Okay, that V pair that can't be here, that can't be a 1 by Knight's move. So 1 is in one of those 3 cells. That's not doing anything, is it? Well, it's keeping 1 out of that cell. That's almost interesting. Oh, goodness. Okay, let's think about these 4 again, which all have to be different. Now, why isn't that more useful? That is a set of 2, 3, 4, 5. So, there is a 1 here, there is a 6 here. This is a set of 2, 3, 4, 5. So those 2 digits are definitely the same as those 2. And that means they can't appear here because of Knight's move and stuff. So they must be in these cells. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry, Lost Cabrio, if you're irritated by what are not email notifications this time, but others. But unfortunately, sometimes people in my family don't recognise that I'm the most important person. 9876. Come on. We're nearly there here. 40 minutes in. Just need one or two more breakthroughs. He said, hopefully. So those two yellows had to be in those positions. These two in the central column have to be in that group of three. Do they have to include that one? Or could they be those? I don't really know. In fact, it seems more likely to me that that's a 1, just on a sort of symmetry basis in the puzzle. That's absolutely no basis for anything, but there we go. I'm just thinking aloud. 6 in one of those cells. 6 in one of those rules out that from being 6. That's interesting. So 6 is definitely in one of those and not here. Now 6 is definitely in one of these. If that was a 6, that would be 6. We've got a little 2 by 2 of 6s there. Come on, 6, do something suddenly, surprisingly, and helpfully. And it's not doing anything. Is it to do with this difference of M? I don't see how it can be. I really don't. What did it say? I'm just wondering if M can be 0. Each instance of a given letter represents the same digit, and no two different letters represent the same digit. Could M be 0 by that ruling? I don't honestly know. Now, whatever this is appears in one of those two. So D is in one of those two. Have I enabled letters? No, I haven't. That's a bit odd in this puzzle, but anyway, D is in one of these two, and therefore somewhere here, which tells me D is not R, but I knew that because that's the rule. G is not there, so G is in one of those two, and therefore one of these three. So G could well be 6. G also can't be there, or there. But G could be 6, so I can't just limit it to one of those two and definitely there. Which is a shame, because that would be interesting. Oh, is G6? Now that's a chess position, G6. How relevant, but how unhelpful. Oh, goodness gracious me. Again, I feel very close to cracking this, but not quite there. And it's because I've not understood something. That's the problem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I kind of feel I've squeezed the juice out of the lemon of these Ren bands. One of those is 6. Why can't I know which one? If it was there on the M, then that couldn't be 3, because then D and M would be the same. That's not very interesting, but at least potentially, possibly interesting. That would put 6 here. That would mean G would have to be 6, I think. Not sure about that now I've said it. Don't really know why I said it. Oh, 6 is in one of those two. We haven't ruled it out any better than that. And one of those two. 6 may be the odd digit that we do have to keep focusing on. So if 6 was there, what happens to 6 in the puzzle? Then it has to be there in box 5. Then I think it has to go there in box 4. And then we have this 2 by 2 left for 6. But that doesn't finish anything off, which is wildly irritating, actually. And that seems a much more innocuous position for 6. Although, actually, now I think about it, it does force it into one of those two, which gives us a 2x2 in that area instead of the puzzle. And then with the other 6s we end up with 2 2x2s of 6s. But still, that feels a much more innocuous position, and I say that with feeling. Right, I'm really sorry. I am desperately struggling to find something to go on here. 9876. Again, this group is so appealing as relevant, and yet I just don't see what they lead to. That is a set of 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe I need to colour them all separately and see what happens. Let's try that, because it's a new approach that I haven't done. Let's make that one yellow, that one red, that one blue, and that one green. See what happens with these, if anything. So, they are all from 2, 3, 4, 5. Green has to be in one of those two. It is from 2, 3, 4, or 5. No, green is specifically the more limited one from 3, 4, or 5. Not much more limited, but a little. It's going to end up in one of those. That means it can't be there. Oh, that is slightly interesting. That means it's going to have to be in one of those. And that's a sort of virtual X-wing. It means the one in column 7 is going to have to be in one of those. This is definitely true for green. This isn't just a supposition or a postulation. This is actually happening. So green is in one of those. And if it's there, that's going to fix our 6s. Interesting. Non-conclusive so far. But let's have a look at yellow, because I ran out of steam on green. Yellow's in one of those. Yellow is definitely here. That means those can't be yellow, but yellow could be 2, so it could be down here. And that's annoying because we can't quite confine yellow over here in the same way. That can't be yellow, though. This one reaches those cells, and that. I don't know, I feel a lot less empowered by yellow than I did by green. Let's try red, which can't be there. Red's in one of those two. And the trouble is now red is in one of those 3. And red, that just seems a lot less interesting. Probably blue will be as well. Although blue is 2, 3, 4, or 5. Has to be in one of those. Can't be there. Wow, no, I don't see what this is doing. There must be something. There really must. It is aggravating not to have one more step actually in this. I thought it was going to be a lot of steps. I don't think it's going to be so many now. But I still have to make them somehow. That 2, 3, 4, 5 set. There is this. Oh, look, there is this Knight's Move thing. I think those 5. Look, Mr. Knighty, you weren't telling me that. Don't those 5 have to all be different? Don't they all see each other? This is one of those weird Knight's Move patterns that I've managed to totally forget. I think this is a set of 5 in this puzzle. And that's really helpful. Look at that. Pause the video if you're not sure. And just check why those cells all see each other and therefore all have to be different. And what that means. That being the case, and they do, this sees all of those in that box and that in its own. This sees all of those in that box and that in its own. And therefore, it's a mutually exclusive set of 5. And that is therefore a weird 2, 3, 4, 5 quad. And this digit is a 1. Now, I claimed that we only needed one more step. Maybe it's one more general insight. Oh no, hang on. 1 is D. So 1 is now in one of those cells. And therefore one of these 3. Now, come on, 1. Be helpful. 1 is D. So R is not 1, and G is not 1 as well, and M is not 1. So this digit is not 2. I wanted to say it's not 1. Oh, 1 in this box is now in one of those 2 cells by all my previous pencil markings. So that's not 1. This is a 1. That reaches up to this cell, which is a 2. We've got a 1 there. That 2 now stops yellow being 2. So one of these 2 is a 2. Yellow and green aren't 2. 2's in one of those 2 cells and not there. This is now getting a bit weird. But what is this? Because I'm going to look at this group of 5 cells which all see each other and exactly analogous to the other one. This is 2, 3, 5, 2, 3 or 5 by Sudoku. And this is a set of different digits. So that is a 6 and that's G. Done. G is a 6. One of these 2 is now a 6. Is that... Yeah, that can't be a 6 by Knight's move. So those 2 are the 6s in columns 1 and 3. That isn't. It doesn't resolve this pair of 6s, but never mind. It got something done. And maybe I can still use that this is a set of 2, 3, 4, 5. So one of those is a 2. Do they both see anywhere? Ah, this sees that cell. So now that is a definite 2. That's not. That's 2 on the red line. Oh, come on, 2s. Maybe I was right and we only needed this big one more play to get going. But maybe I wasn't. That's a 1-4 pair now. 2 is definitely red or blue. It's definitely in one of those 2 cells. It looks like that puts it in one of these 3, which is not quite enough for me. I'm greedy. 2 is in one of those, so now it's in one of these 3. Oh, this is 3 or 5. Now, what do we know about these letters now? R is 3 or 5, G is 6, D is 1. This digit is not allowed to be 2 because D has been 1. I don't know. This is 1 or 4, I've just noticed in this box. And that's a pair, both seeing that cell, which can't be 4. So yellow is 3 or 5 and must go here because that's not yellow, because it's 1. So this is definitely yellow. And that means this is definitely red. And that means red is not 2. And that means this is 2 and it's blue. And that's here. So that colouring was unbelievably helpful and I just wasn't quite using it all. But it was unbelievably helpful. We've got a 2 there. That's not a 2. That's not a 3 on this hypothetical V. What a puzzle. I'm sure I've overcomplicated some steps. I'm also sure that some steps are complicated. That 2 sees that cell, 1 and 4 on our virtual V. That puts 1 and 4 out there. That takes 4 out of those cells, 1 out of those. We've got a 2, 3, 5 triple there. 4 is looking at this cell. 4 is looking at this cell and this cell, obviously. I say obviously because I hadn't noticed it. That's not a 2. Yellow is 3 or 5, in fact. And green, oh, I don't know. Let's get rid of the blue colouring. That's done its job. Yellow, red and green, they're still uncertain, so I don't think that colouring has finished doing its job, but that can't be yellow by Knight's move. So that is yellow. One of these 2 is a 4. Doesn't feel that helpful, but I think we are getting there now. He says gradually. That is 3 or 5. So in this row, 4 has to be here. Let's do it in a number rather than a colour. 4 I've got in one of those 3. Can I really not narrow it down more? No, I can't. Yellow is 3 or 5 and is in one of those 2 in row 9. And therefore has to be here. That has to be yellow. In row 7. Yes, it does. And that is therefore no longer allowed to be 6. So 6s, the last 2 6s in the grid go in there. What was G? G was 6, so we'll get rid of those Gs. They're no use to me now. This, I don't know, but come on. Green, yellow and red are 3, 4 and 5, but it's weird that I still don't really know how they shake down fully. So I've got, that has no colour left. This one is green, isn't it? In this box, yes it is. Definitely green. So that's not green, and it's not even 6 or anything. That is green. This is green. Green is now 3 or 5 and not 4. Now we've found, well, hang on. Yeah, that couldn't be green by night smooth. That's okay. So green is 3 or 5, yellow is 3 or 5, red is 4. What's that going to do? Literally El Zippo. Oh, that's just astonishingly annoying. But green and yellow, let's keep going with green and yellow. We've got one of them there. That one is not green anymore. Let's get rid of the red colouring because it's done its useless job. Green and yellow. One of those is 3 or 5. One of them is 2. I can't believe this is still holding out. I know it's partly because I'm not being very smart, but I'm honestly doing my best, whatever it looks like. Yellow has to be there or there. But this is green, right, because it can't be yellow. That's yellow. Oh look, I've discovered M is 5. I've never noticed that. And that does it. That means R can't be 5. There we go. So R is 3. Oh, goodness gracious. Green is 3. Yellow is 5. This must finish the puzzle. Let's get rid of all the colouring because I've just used it all. How do I do that? Like this, I reckon. There we go. All the colouring's gone. Now I am literally, he says, just finishing off, although I might still need the night's move. I hope not, because I've not proved great with the night's move today. This is a 4 to finish the column. That sorts out the row, that sorts out 4 and 1, that sorts out 4 and 1. 1, 2, 5 here, that's a 2. Yeah, just Sudoku, thank goodness. And 2, 3, 5 down here. What a puzzle, that's great fun, Apio. Just under the hour. And I'm very pleased with that. Wow. Intriguing, a very intriguing night's move, but lots more to it puzzle. I hope you did either pause the video or jump forward quite considerably in the video in the bits where I got stuck to see what happened next. But that was absolute brain buster. Loved it. Thank you so much to Apio, and thank you to you for watching. We really value your company. Hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.